What are the top 10 biggest mistakes people make living in Idaho during the winter, and how do you avoid them? Let's find out. Before we get started, my name is Isaac Crace. I'm a third-generation realtor here in the Boise, Idaho area. So if you or anyone you know is thinking about making the move to the Boise, Idaho area, hit me up. Let's have a chat and see if Boise is going to be the right fit for you. My phone is ringing off the hook every single day with people just like you looking to make the move to the Boise, Idaho area, and I absolutely love helping out in any way I can. But you got to reach out to me first for me to help you. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode because I've got a great one for you. I'm going to be going over the top 10 things to help keep you prepared for living in Idaho during the winter. So without further ado, let's get started with the first one, and that's going to be transportation. Transportation is going to be a big one because in Idaho, we don't have a whole lot of public transportation, so you're going to need your own vehicle. And when choosing your own vehicle, if you don't already have one, you're going to want to make sure that you have the right vehicle that's going to be appropriate for the winter conditions in regards to snow on the road, ice on the road, and just rough driving conditions. So the best of all is going to be either a four-wheel drive vehicle or an all-wheel drive vehicle. They have the best traction control in the snow and ice. The next best one is going to be a front-wheel drive vehicle. The least suited for driving in the snow and the ice is going to be rear-wheel drive, either cars, and a surprising one to a lot of people is going to be pickups or trucks. And most people think, well, I've got a pickup and it's a 4x4, I can just drive in the snow anywhere. Well, actually, that's actually not the case. Pickups are probably one of the worst to drive in the snow because you have absolutely no weight in the rear of the vehicle where your tires are. So you just sit there spinning and spinning and spinning when you're trying to take off. And a funny thing about it is people think I'm joking when I tell them you need to go down to like Home Depot or your hardware store, or even just go out in your backyard and you need to get some weight to put in the back of your truck. A lot of times people get like sandbags or stuff along that line, and you need to put a couple 100 pounds in the back of your pickup, and it does help a lot. It gets weight in the back of the pickup, helps with traction a lot. People do think I'm joking, but no, I'm actually being very serious. Another thing on top of that is be sure your vehicle has the appropriate tires. A lot of places that don't have inclement weather, they just have highway tires, which there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need anything crazy. But with the rough winter weather in Idaho, you're going to either want to have some all-terrain tires or some all-weather tires, which has deeper grooves and traction, so when they get packed with snow and ice and mud and all that stuff, they can still have some traction. And on top of that is going to be studded tires. The way studded tires work is they're like an all-terrain tire, except they have a bunch of little metal studs just like the diagram is showing. Those help cut through the snow and ice and give you a lot better traction in inclement weather. And the biggest one about transportation is going to be following distance. If you haven't driven in rough weather like on icy roads or snowy roads or stuff like that, I highly encourage you to study it and watch a bunch of YouTube videos. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on how to drive in inclement weather. Biggest thing I see is a lot of people not realizing how to drive in it. Your vehicle needs a lot of distance to get going, and once you get going, your vehicle needs even more distance to get stopped and turning and all that stuff. You're not going to be able to drive like you are in perfect driving conditions. And in the last couple years, you can tell who is a local and who is used to driving in inclement weather because they are still on the road, and everybody who isn't used to it and doesn't realize the severity of it and the seriousness of it is usually on the side of the road. So switching gears, we're going to start talking about your home, and there's a bunch of things about your home that are going to keep you prepared so you don't have any expensive repairs coming up. And the first one is going to be your sprinklers. I was actually telling one of our clients that, and that's what inspired me to put this in the video, that in the wintertime or in the fall as it is right now, there's a bunch of people that go around with air compressors on the back of their trucks and they blow out your sprinkler systems. So what that does is they hook up the air compressor up to your sprinkler system and they blow all of the water out of it once you're done watering your yard. What happens is in the wintertime, if you don't do that, it freezes, the water in the pipes will freeze, and then your sprinkler system is not going to work in the springtime when you go to use it. You're going to have to get a landscaper out to repair any burst pipes. So, like I said, when I do it, I just watch for one of the sprinkler guys coming to blow out one of my neighbor's yards, and I go tell them, hey, can you come blow out my sprinklers? And it's really cheap. It's like 20, 25 bucks. They just pull little trailers behind their pickups and do it. Just do it. It'll save you a lot of headache in the long run. The next thing is frost-free faucets. So in Idaho, because of the weather we have, our faucets and the hose spigots that go around the sides of your houses, they don't have the valve all the way on the outside of your house. It's set inside, further inside your house, under the house to keep it warm in the winter. What this does is it keeps the water away from the side of the house so it doesn't freeze. Now, if you're using your water spigot in the wintertime. You still can use it. Don't leave your hose hooked up to it because of the science. I'm not going to go into it, but because of science, we're going to leave it at that. If you leave your hose hooked up to the spigot, it will freeze the line. It'll channel back into there and freeze that line, and you're going to have to get a plumber out to go under your house and repair that. So if you use your spigot in the winter, be sure to disconnect that hose when you're done working with it. And that is going to bring us to the next thing, which is crawl spaces. I know a lot of people who aren't from Idaho are completely shocked when they find out that there's like a space underneath the house, and like, what do you do with it? It's not on a slab. Do you live down there? Do you put your cats down there? Do you use it as storage or whatnot? None of that, for one. But these crawl spaces have vents all the way around the outside. And what they do is you open them in the summer, in the springtime, and it ventilates throughout the house so that you don't have any microbiome growth, and it just keeps it nice and dry underneath there. In the fall, like now, I always tell people you need to go around to all those vents and close them. It's super easy. It takes you about however long it takes you to get around your house. Do that, close it up. It'll keep the underside of your house warm so you don't have any cold stuff down there, cold air, freezing any of your pipes. I doubt it will get that cold, but still, it's just too easy of a precaution to take to make sure that you don't have any lines under your house freezing or any insulative issues with your house in the winter. The next thing, no to salt. When we do get snow in the winter here in the Boise area, typically it always melts and then it freezes again. So you get like a sheet of ice right on your driveway, your concrete and all that stuff. Ice melt or ice salt or rock salt, all of that stuff works great. You sprinkle it on the concrete and then it melts the ice, it goes away. You can walk perfectly fine. If you have any desire to keep your concrete and your sidewalks looking nice, do not put rock salt on it. Because what happens is the rock salt melts the water and it goes down into your concrete because the concrete is very porous, and then it goes in there and it freezes and it crumbles just like the picture shows. It will destroy concrete. There is no matter what they say, some of them say that they're safe for concrete, just don't use it and it'll keep your concrete looking really nice. The next one is a precaution I like to tell everyone around here to take, and that's to put heat tape on the eaves of your roofs. You can go down to Home Depot and get that. It just plugs in, you go up there, put it right along the first maybe 12 inches, 18 inches of your roof. And what this does, if we have any snow that comes on the roof, falls on the roof, it starts to melt. So what happens is the ice freezes over top of your gutter and then water tries to go down there as well. Can't get past it, so it comes back up under your shingles. Your shingles are made to shuck water. They're not made to just sit under constant water. So the water will work its way back up under the shingles and cause water damage. Years ago, we had a really tough winter and there was a lot of ice damming on houses. Heads up, if you have any water damage from ice dams, your homeowner's insurance will not cover it because they had to pay out a lot that winter. So they're like, hey, we're not covering ice dams. So it's a great precaution to take. You can just go down to your Home Depot, your Lowe's, your Ace hardware store, your Ridley's, anywhere that sells heat tape, and just put it on that edge of your house. It'll save you a lot of hassle in the long run. And last section, but definitely not least, is going to keep you comfortable in the winter here in Idaho. In the Boise area, it is the most mild climate, and it's not uncommon for it here to get down to 0 degrees during the winter. So you're going to need to dress appropriately. Get a warm coat, get some good pants, get some wool socks, gloves, and dress appropriately for the weather because, like I said, it gets down to 0 degrees and it can even go below that. And if you're going to southern Idaho or up to northern Idaho like Coeur d'Alene, it gets even colder than that. So do yourself a favor and get some warm clothes. If you're coming from an area that's not as cold, it's going to be a shock. And on top of that, get yourself a good pair of shoes because, like I said, just like with the ice on the sidewalk, in the winter, we do have ice on the ground. That's just how it is. And snow, and you're going to be trekking through that stuff. So get yourself a good pair of boots with a good tread on the bottom so that you're not slipping around. In addition to that, get yourself a set of boots that are waterproof as well, a legitimate pair of snow boots. To keep your feet dry with good traction, you're going to be A-okay. And I've had a lot of people say, well, I've got cowboy boots. Okay, for one, cowboy boots aren't all that great. I wear cowboy boots all the time, but they're not that great. They're not insulative, they're not waterproof, and the traction on them is not great. You're gonna find yourself on your butt a lot if you don't have a good set of shoes with traction on the bottom of them. The next one for in your house to keep yourself comfortable is probably gonna be an odd one when I tell you this because I've told a lot of people who aren't from the area about this and they're like, are you serious? So in the winter here in Idaho, it is high desert and the air gets very dry. And along with that, you're gonna have all the symptoms of dry air. Your lips are gonna get chapped. Your nose is gonna get dry and you're probably gonna get bloody noses. Your knuckles are gonna get dry. You're gonna wanna keep lotion on you. But in our homes, we put humidifiers in them, which seems kind of odd. You're putting moisture into your home. You got to be careful with it, but you can pick up a humidifier in like your Walmart. Any store around here is going to have a humidifier, and trust me, it works wonders. You're going to notice that your lips aren't chapped, your throat feels fine, you're not getting bloody noses. Just trust me on that one. Run a humidifier in your house, but be careful with it. Don't run too much. You don't obviously want to put too much water into your house. Just a little bit of water into the air, and it'll work wonders for you. And in addition to the humidifier you're running in your house, get a bunch of chapstick. You can use it on everything from your lips to your knuckles. Anything that's dry, you can put chapstick on, and you're gonna need it, trust me. So, you think you got what it takes to live in Idaho in the winter? Like I said, it's not gonna be an easy change overnight, but there are things that you can do to prepare yourself for that change. If you enjoyed this video, you might wanna give this one a look, or this one. And until next week, I'm Isaac Crace with Top Idaho Real Estate, your third generation Idaho Realtor.